But we are getting to a place for discussion. So I will move this a little bit, make sure that we can see the discussion panelists. So it is going to be a discussion with 4 participants. So please welcome to the stage for the panel discussion. We will be discussing occupation safety and health trends. And please welcome the Chief of State Labor Inspection of Latvia, Renārs Lūsis. Renārs, welcome to the stage. Yes, round of applause there. Then we have the winner of EU OSH Association's competition on best practices, Ieva Andersone, golden helmet bearer. Ieva, welcome. Economics expert from Steelcase partner Brera, Kaspars Bērziņš. Kaspars. And the European Network of Safety and Health Professional Organizations representative Dagmara Polowczyk, the treasurer. A very responsible discussion panel here. And we would like to cover 3 actually main questions. We will begin on your projections on occupation safety and health trends. Where are we going? What's the next big thing? What will be the thing we will be discussing next year at this conference? So what are the trends where we are going on occupation safety and health? Then we will talk about leadership role, how to sell OSH inside the institutions and companies, how to talk to your boss that this is important, we should do this, and it should be done like that. So how to do that most effective way. Then we will talk about the role of state authorities. So what is the role, where are the boundaries, are they? And what is the best cooperation with the state authorities as safety partners? And then at the end, if there will be any more questions, to ask, then you are also welcome. So let us begin with your projections on occupation safety and health trends. What is trending now? We saw some like exoskeletons. We've been talking about some IT programs and applications. So what do you think is the trend number 1 right now? Who's first?
Okay, I just may take my chance. Well, I think today we heard a lot of insight in some potential new risks and trends, as you call them. I think one which is clearly quite visible already now, it's digitalization. I think that's incoming, and it's coming to be even more and more present. I think what we witnessed also, and it was not predicted, is that COVID will come. I think that was difficult to predict like 3-4 years ago, so it came without notice, and we cannot say that some new risks cannot come on us unexpectedly. So this could be quite a realistic case as well. But I think green jobs is something which was mentioned as well, and is coming to be quite an issue for future challenges for health and safety. And more, as it was mentioned, as an answer to my question about psychosocial risks and stress, I think as COVID showed that it's not only increased, but it raised up like very steep. So I expect that in our countries, psychosocial risks, stress, mental health would be a huge issue for nearby future. I think these are the quite important challenges. And when we speak about digitalization and then future of work, I think still a thing which is quite a bit gray area for us is all kind of platform work. So where people are choosing where to work, where platforms are kind of dictating how to work and giving the jobs. I think these all cases are becoming even more complex, and also complex for us as state authorities for controlling and monitoring, because it's very difficult to say where the boundaries are, where it's, let's say, the flexibility comes in, and where still are some rights and obligations which need to be observed. So these are quite, let's say, challenging times ahead of us.
You mentioned pandemic. What did it change for good? So is there anything from the state point of view, and talking about health and safety, what did it change for good, which stays?
Well, there was one good thing, and that comes with each crisis, also with economic crisis in 2009 and 10, and also with this one, with pandemics. What we saw is that during the years of crisis, because there's less, let's say, active work, number of fatal accidents at work decrease. So that's only one, let's say.
Just don't go to work.
Yeah,
you will
just
be fine.
one very positive thing. So less people died at work. But if to be serious, I think what pandemics gave us is also chances of new ways to work. I think it was all for both for businesses, also for state authorities. We learned to work in new ways, to adapt to new ways, and also found that there are some certain things we can do digitally actually, and that's I think something which will stay. So this lessons learned and things we observe, we can be effective also in other ways. I think this is something which was quite positive.
But did it brought some new rules from the state side?
Well, it certainly did, because I mean, again, applying new ways of work, starting to work differently, it of course needed to adapt from all sides, both from employer and employees, and also state institutions. So that clearly was one of the points, certainly.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. The winner of EU OSH Association's competition on best practices, Ieva Andersone. Wow, what did you do to get that golden helmet?
Well, it is, it wasn't just myself. It was all the company. I was just like maybe the guiding person. So it's not quite correct to say that it was just me. But we all talk about digitalization and AI and all these things, but I would like to call myself a dinosaur because I really love face-to-face interaction with people, and I love face-to-face instructions for employees. I represent occupational safety specialists, what we did, I think, it was interaction with people and talking with them. And if we speak about trends, I think that digitalization, from my point of view, also brings a bit of risk that there will be less interaction with the health and safety specialists, with the employees, because we all love these automatic instructions where people just see a video and then they, click and then sign and everything is done. But I find personal instructions really helpful to actually get the feedback from employees about their workplaces. So I think that's also something that we have to think about, and then that's a trend that could be risky. But from this point of view.
You sort of said tendencies, these exoskeletons, those could be also connected to the internet. So you can program them to not go there, don't do that. And that would be quite an interaction. You would be talking to each of your employees.
Well, yeah, it's Well, you can always find ways how to implement this technology in a positive way. So that's a good example. Yeah. But if we talk about more trends and well-being, I feel like HR and health and safety specialists will soon become one branch in the company.
All right.
Yeah, and that was also, I think, during the pandemic that people were working at home alone, or maybe they were working at home with 5 other people in the room, kids and husbands, and that also brought a bit more attention to the well-being. Yeah.
So you're saying there will be more inside cooperation with different departments in the organization?
Yeah, well, that's at least what I see from my point of view.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you. Right, let's move to Kaspars. What about trends?
Well, trends. I know for sure that one trend hasn't changed, and that's the request for movement. Movement like a body movement. According to different sources, but that's been in fashion already last 3 million years. So more or less it's about choice and control of where and how we work. And already colleagues mentioned here that platform has shifted lately with the relatively more well or less well equipped platform for doing works like pre-COVID. And now when the new workstation of kitchen table or a new workstation of sofa, which is absolutely magnificent for 1 hour of TV or chat with friends, but 8 hours of conference calls? Really?
I guess we learned pretty quickly that there's not infinite amount of calls we can make during the day. They are exhausting. You're like on TV all the time.
And that is just another perspective of this. Everyone has heard well-being. Well, what it means. A lot of definitions, probably many of them true. Well, for me, it's about cognitive, and that's how Steelcase, one of the largest office furniture manufacturers in the world, puts it. It's the cognitive, emotional, and physical. Take out any of components, and you can discuss about well-being all the long you want.
All right. Yes. Thank you, Kaspars. Dagmara has spent 40 minutes making prognoses about how things will happen. But can you just bring out your most beloved tendency you think it will be there?
Okay, a lot of has been said today already, but I think that the trends for occupational safety and health are going into the direction to eliminate waste. Time is a waste for us.
To eliminate waste.
To eliminate waste. Yes, it's going into the good direction. We as a health and safety professionals, we are spending a huge amount of time in the office, right? And we should be on the shop floor. We should be supporting, guiding, coaching the guys, coaching our leaders as well, talking to our ops leaders, to our VPs, yes, to our plant managers, not sitting in front of the desk. So I think that the trends now is to to eliminate this waste, which is a time, like artificial intelligence. It was shown here the application for ergonomic assessment. So you can imagine how much time it saves. It also gives you the information about the root cause, possible root cause. It also takes the data from the other companies. So the data, if the data is bigger and bigger, it saves you more and more time because you can choose your root cause. And usually we, as a health and safety professionals, we are not engineering by the trade, right? And we do the root causes analysis where we have injuries, but not when we need it for ergonomics. So it saves times. I would say that. So this is a trend. If I think about what I was speaking about in the morning as well, what else I can say about the trends? I think if I will take away the digitalization a little bit, my topic from today, I would say that the behavioral aspect of health and safety is going also quite faster now. More and more companies would like to do the BBS, behavioral-based safety. They do understand right now how much coaching, how much behavioral aspect, how much safety culture is important nowadays. I think even nowadays more than ever. And after pandemic, that's true that on the pandemic I saw my LTIR, TIIR, all the KPIs that are lagging indicators were down. But actually what I have noticed in my personal company, which is automotive, after the pandemic we went up. So the startup we were not prepared for the startup, right? That was something that we also saw, hey, we need to react on behavioral aspect as well. And we all know that, 80, 90 or more accidents are coming because of the behavioral aspect. So behavioral and eliminating of waste, which digitalization is going to help us with.
All right. So, any comments on this or any questions, please, so far? Then I have next one. Yes.
I have one reaction, and actually building up on what Dagmara said, the last thing regarding safety culture. I think she touched upon a very, very crucial thing when saying that during pandemics, I think we also all experience this, that health and safety matters in large part of the companies. kind of dropped down. So the behavior or the, let's say, mental focus were somewhere else. And I think that's very important what Dagmara mentioned about keeping the safety culture, building up on this behavior of workers in companies. It's very, very crucial to overcome these crises, to overcome these, let's say, sort of drop downs in attitude. So I think that's something which is a prime task of health and safety experts and also, of course, state authorities to help to overcome these cases. Because what we see from State Labor Inspectorate per point of view is after each of the crises, unfortunately, still when people are getting back to work eagerly, let's say happy that they can work again, a number of accidents they skyrocket again up. And that's something where the safety culture element, you can overcome it with, let's say, not so hard numbers. Thank you.
Well, but isn't that about human nature? You get used to the things, to the places, to the procedures, and whenever they change, it takes time. Are there procedures in place wherever somebody is changing, or the place, or the work, or the system, that we have some safety measures?
But then you have the change management, right? So this is incorporated into our lives. The habits are quite easy to change, not the beliefs. So if it will be the belief of someone, the beliefs, it won't be easy to change. But if I take the belief and changing of the procedure, quite easy to change the procedure, right?
So next question is, why are we still talking about leadership role in OSH and asking how to convince the boss that we need to change something, to improve something, to have less accidents and better health? Why on earth? It sounds so logical. What's the problem?
I can start on this.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's my daily job to convince bosses to invest in health and safety. Actually, I think it's becoming easier and easier because on a global scale, at least from my point of view, it's becoming kind of also stylish, to be safe.
Stylish?
Yeah. It's
Sexy.
not stylish, but for companies, it's becoming one of the, basic things that you have to do to play the game. At least, I think that's the trend. Colleagues can comment on this. Yeah. It's slowly, and I think it's in like the last 10 years, because I think that, I'm in this field for 6 years, and even 6 years it was different.
But, for example, in the audience, there are some people who don't see anything stylish in that. That's extra work, that's extra expenditures. So how can
you want that gold helmet,
Yes.
as a company. You are a big manufacturing company, and safety is becoming one of the, main aspects because, we are talking in Latvia. It's different, maybe in other European countries where safety is on a higher level already for, more years. But in Latvia, it's, I think it's this snowball effect. When you see one company being a good example, there's another one, and you want to be like them because then the bar raises for the others. Yeah, it's between the big companies. There are always smaller companies that don't have these funds for safety. At least that's what they say. But yeah, and
so you can sell it. The idea
you can sell it. Yeah. Well, if we talk about specifics in a daily life of an occupational safety specialist, it's more about actual numbers that you can represent to prove that your work is.
It's about money.
Important, that it's worth money. Yeah. So you have to do your research and give your numbers to say that, I need this because if we don't get this, these will be our expenses for sick leaves, for health risks, for accidents.
Do we have that data?
We do have data, if we look for it. Yeah. I mean, even in events like this, I have gained data that I can later give my employer to see. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and then
Dagmara?
Sure.
The challenge is the hard savings. Our leaders want to have a business case always. I cannot just tell them, But if we won't implement that, we will have a fatality, and the fatality is 1 million. They don't want to listen to that. They want to see the hard savings as well, right? They want to see the hard savings. Of course, there's no negotiation about that, right? There's no negotiation about severe injuries or fatalities, but they still want to see the business case. So we as a health and safety professionals, we really need to, as my colleague said, we really need to do the research and build the business case. And the business case cannot take more than 2 minutes to show the ops leader, operation leader, vice president, right? Cannot be on more than 1 page. The best one is just cost saving, 40,000 euro. Okay, you have it, yeah? You have it. That's the best idea.
Who are the partners you're working with?
I'm working with the regional partners, global partners. So now I need to convince the vice presidents to apply a global solution for our corporation or the company. And it's always the same. You have 5 minutes, you have 1 slide, you have to show me the business case. You need to build a business case. But it is possible to do that on the regional scale, global scale.
But who are the partners you can build that one-pager to show within the company? Who are you working together with?
I'm working as a health and safety professional on regional level. I'm working with the operation leaders. So they are my maybe stakeholders, maybe the partners as well, right? I'm working with the plant managers. I'm working not only with health and safety professionals, because they are all. I'm working with HR. I need to build the relationship with all the functions, sub-functions, with the logistics as well, right? Mm-hmm. In order to build such a business case. So we are the one body.
So,
heart is health and safety, let's say.
Before I go to Kaspars, I would like to ask Renārs one thing. Is there anything except sanctions state authorities can come up with for the businesses and institutions and sell it to the leaders saying, see, there's a strong case, you need this? Is there anything?
Of course there is. Actually, there are a lot of things also from state authorities what we can do. I think it's been something not only in Latvia, but a trend which is even more and more spoken about, that state authorities, state controlling authorities actually are also having this role of consultancy and advice. And of course, there's always has to be a balance, and you cannot do a work for a company, and there's the responsibility of the company as well. But there's a lot of things, and we practice a lot of consultancy, and there's consult first principle we have applied for I know last 5-6 years, which works. And with that, you can also, I think, partly take what ladies were talking about, that you need to sell the topic. So I think nowadays it's very important to say not only what it will cost you if you do something new, but what it will cost you if you don't. I mean, what will cost you, the company, if you don't change nothing, if you don't invest in health and safety. So it also costs you. And that, I think, is very, very important argument, both for health and safety experts and also when our inspectors are trying to convince why you need these improvements in your workplace, because accident will actually cost you a lot more.
So how many times inspection is ready to consult first?
Actually, every time when we can, apart from cases where obviously the breach of or violation of law has been already done, and that's, I mean, a very, very severe one, like undeclared work or accident with severe cases, I mean, which has happened due to the, let's say, negligence of employer. Mm-hmm. In all other cases, we are happy to use consult first principle. And just to give you a real numbers, we are doing 10,000 inspections per year, and we are doing 30,000 consultations. So that's just the proportion how much more actually we do consult than we inspect.
All right. Kaspars?
Well, Dagmara wanted one pager. Well, here's one sentence. Can you leave office healthier than you arrived?
Can you leave office healthier than you arrived?
Yes, and here is not only physically healthier, also mentally healthier, meaning cognitively healthier, emotionally healthier. So can you?
Kaspars, this is not a sanatory. This is a workplace. I pay you.
That's
do your job.
Yes. And unfortunately, here I have to quote, because I just visited yesterday the kids' show of 5th grade, so it's 12 years?
Yeah.
It was on the health topic, and I quote, "Your health and well-being rely, so depends, right? So your health, well-being, and well-being rely on personal choices and how you treat yourself.
Personal choices.
So that's a 12 years old central idea of the work and health, safety and health, if you wish. So when you're saying, yeah, boss is telling, well, boss can tell only that much as far as he's interested in you as a talent. If there is a talent next door, well, maybe you are not such a great talent after all. That's one perspective. But coming back, and I wanted to react on data. Absolutely. What I meet with the customers, especially large organizations, which Steelcase is doing with worldwide, yes, they want to have a business case. Why we shall invest? And with COVID came around, yeah, it struggles, but it's not bad after all. It's less coffee bills on the office account. Should we really have them back? Some companies can afford the luxury to working from home. Some companies are taking care of the employees at home, not leaving them on their own. But at the same time, one of the hybrid work, which is now the kind of fashy thing in the air, is two-dimensional place from where we work and time, when and also how much. And just don't fool ourselves. When we went to the physical office, we spent some time on commute, kind of time wasted, maybe, yes. But at the same time, we had quite strict lines, well, much more stricter than sitting at the kitchen table or at the sofa. Blah, 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 all the physical components of this, but also when you don't know when your workday starts and when it ends, how capable you are to give to the employer. And the best business case at the end of the day is who is bringing the money to the company. If it's technology, fine, but at the same time, who is supervising technology? So, if you want to get money, you have to invest money. And, and one more, just a very short thing on the data. You tell me what was the scale of there are big lies, there are lies, there are big lies, and there is statistics, right?
Big data.
Big data, okay. So here is the quote, and I hope the doctor doesn't mind, but Latvians probably know Pēteris Kļava. One of the person who strictly works with and sees on everyday life how many lives of kids are lost. And his assessment was, parents, don't buy, and now it's the quote, and I will correct it, so no offense after all, but don't buy a particular car which is considered to be a more safe, because it is, you can see from the reports, the more kids are dying in that particular, probably the most safest car, and I'm not mentioning the name. And you know, because others don't report or others don't bring kids with that particular car. Can you follow the idea? So you get the data out of the source which you can track. Everyone is driving their kids in the most, at least trying, most safest car. And that's why the track shows, according to doctor, that most kids has been in the injuries in that specific safe car.
Because parents just care more, and that's why you have that data?
Because in other cars there are not so much kids to drive around. And if you don't have a trackable employees in your office, of course you don't see the injuries or other reports.
I understand.
Because
They happen at home.
when I cut my arm and get to the hospital, well, the first question in the hospital was, did you get it at the work?
Yeah.
No, I get it into my garden and I was foolish enough to not wear protective gloves. And thanks to the good doctors who saved my arm. But was it the work-related injury? Of course it was.
All right. So far, any questions or comments from the audience, please? All right. So yes.
Just one more thing on the question you started with, why we still talk about it. So why we still talk about leadership or management role and how important it is. I would like to stress that it is actually the crucial one, because everything starts from head in a company. So if the culture is there, I mean, that's completely different story if comparing to the case when employer or the head organization are not taking care of health and safety, and it's only a guy or a lady who's kind of, let's say, screaming their life out to try to change things, and I mean, they will not change if the management will not want to.
They will be changed.
Yeah, so hopefully, if there's someone above them.
Or they will leave.
Yeah.
Yeah, but on other aspect about the expenses, I'd like to say just purely about statistics, and hopefully we can rely on this one, that accident statistics show that absolute majority, and I'd like to speak about like 75-80% of accidents actually do happen because of reasons which are not costly. So that's human behavior or organization. So things which are actually not asking for financial investment. That's one thing. And second thing, yesterday we were presented with the data from a survey on risks and working conditions in Latvia, a very, let's say, new data. But they show that during the last 10-15 times since such survey has been conducted in Latvia, that managers actually do admit that more than half or 60% would say, well, actually nothing prevents or holds us back from investing in health and safety. We just don't do it. So it's not like because of the costs that they cannot.
It's not a problem. We just don't.
Finances is not a problem for health and safety.
Why? Because we are lazy or what?
That's what Dagmara was talking about, the behavior. That's the most hardest thing to change, yeah. And it takes years to change maybe a few people, yeah.
And 80% of accidents come from the causes which are not costly.
Which are like human behavior, not observing instructions, human mistakes they call it, or let's say work procedures which were not used safely. So things which are not investing like a hardware that you need to really change something.
Yeah, but educating people, controlling people, and changing their behavior, that is costly.
That takes time. That takes attitude change, but it's not like a physical investment and finances.
Okay.
If you don't believe in it, you will not change the behavior. So yeah, and I completely agree with you about the leadership. That this is a crucial. Maybe I can just say that for me who is doing safety? Of course, everyone, right? But without the leadership. Not the leadership for health and safety professional, but the leadership of our leaders, our production leaders, our managers, team leaders, and so on. We won't have a safety culture, basically. So that's why we need to convince them. Okay, it is easier, yes, to convince our leaders right now for safety, but they need to work for us. So we are only the support. By the definition, health and safety professionals are the support, right? We are not the policemen. We are not creating it. Yes. We all create the safety culture, but the leaders are, they are leading. They are showing us. They are showing us the path. So the guys on the shop floor are taking a look at them, and if they are not convinced, then there's a failure. We need to take a lessons learned out of it, get up and try one more time. That's crucial.
Renārs, I have a question for you. Have you, or do you have a lot of cases where employees or even leaders can't change something and they just give you a signal saying, you need to come and see this? Have you had those cases when people are concerned about their safety and they are asking institutions to come in, maybe being anonymous? Do you have those cases?
Yeah, well, when people, you mean, are complaining and saying, I don't want to, let's say, give my name away, but please come to our company and see what working conditions we have. Yes, we have those complaints and we are going to check them. But just one more element on Dagmar's point on leadership example. I think that's a very crucial word. For instance, imagine a company where inspection comes and they say, yes, our workers are demanded to wear helmets and everybody has to work all protective equipment. We have a very strong safety culture. And then he guides us throughout the, let's say, workplaces without a helmet himself. I mean, what example? How can you ask company employees if they look at you and see that, well, your example is not to wear helmets, so how can you ask them to do so?
Just as simple as that. Just show me what to do. All right, last thing. It is about role of state authorities. So we brought in Renārs. So he would sit down, write down things you will say to him. What do you need from state authorities to make it better? Go.
The role is very important, right? The role is very important, and that's why the associations like we are in, like ENSHPO as well, like my Polish association, we are doing everything so that they can feel that we are the partners, so that they consult us as well, right? Because where to go? Go to the source. So I think it's quite important.
Isn't that frightening, just to wave a hand and ask questions and they would come and see, is that the problem in your company?
Yeah, it's not so easy, right? It's not so easy. We were working, many years in order to be the partners with the state authorities. Because there are many different forms. Yes, the hygiene ones, the occupational, the safety, the fire inspections, the main ones. So you need to be partnered with all of them. But I think it's worth. Yes, it's worth. Even the normal inspection can have a completely different dimension if you have a good relationship with the state authorities. If you ask them about something, not just not the way the way all around, yes, but also you need to. You need to have collaboration, yeah? You can also always ask a state authority if they are coming, do you have something? Do you have a program? Do you have a program for me? Oh, actually we do have, yeah? Okay, let's talk about it, right?
So organizations can do it also, and companies through the associations?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, Kaspars.
Well, there is one part to rely on and one thing to obey. Not to expect from someone that it will hand it over to you, like the governmental organizations. And thank you for this great event, to the hosts of today. Thank you for the initiative. Thank you for the specialists I've met today. They are full with ideas, the young and not so young already. But they are full of ideas. However, I also could feel the quality of the knowledge, which is not always present. It is relied on the materials, which are communicated as the first source, and that's where the association definitely can improve. Like I told to some of your colleagues, like you are the great messengers. Just make sure that your message is well educated, well assessed, and now please attention to the screen, not really, but that it is all around this part or other parts of the related design. As far as it obeys this design, again, as I said, plus minus 3 million years. As far as you use your common sense and knowledge you acquire, I believe in the middle school or even, there is nothing new about it. It's just long forgotten, long ignored, and then can anyone tell you to jump off the bridge?
Kaspars, I have a problem.
You make your educated choices.
I have a problem with that, because chair was not built for that thing.
And now the practice is how to get around But please put that thing in the center of discussion. And as far as you keep that element, well, as far as you keep yourself in the center of the discussion, things cannot go too much sideways,
Wow.
I think.
Thank you. That's quite good criteria. Ieva?
Yeah, about I actually love that Dagmara brought up the partnership thing, because I think that's the way to go, and I believe that perfect example is Mission Zero that is brought by Schwenk. I think that's really the future of collaboration between companies and government institutions and other related institutions, because then you really feel like you become a partner instead of, being each on the other side and, screaming at each other. And, about what Renārs said about consultations, I believe there are many more consultations that go unrecorded, even in these kind of like Mission Zero WhatsApp chat. We have actual people from labor inspection
Really?
replying to your questions. So
Chatting?
Yeah.
All right.
So.
That's a
And
level
that's
of
one
cooperation.
example. Also, associations like ours that bring together professionals, in this field. So partnership is really the way to go, and also seeing labor inspection visits as just another audit, that helps you for continuous improvement and just points out your weaknesses. If we talk about companies that don't have, complete negligence. So yeah, that's.
At the end of this question, we will have a call to action from Renārs himself to the companies and institutions. But before that, any questions or comments before we finish the discussion? Everything is clear. So, Renārs, what is your call to action?
Yeah, well, my call for action, I think it's something what Ieva mentioned, that we all actually are working for the same goal, for health and safety at work, so everybody can come to work and return back safely. I think one of the crucial roles for state institutions is a main goal is compliance. So the people are complying with the rules, and there are many ways how to reach it. And the sanctions and penalties is just a very last resort, and there are many more to explore before that. I'll end with a quote from UK colleague. He told me what the role of good inspector is like 10 years ago. I think nothing much has changed. We are there for employers to show them the light. If they cannot see the light, we can bring the heat so they can see the light.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you. So before I'm saying thank you to all, the conference part will take a break now until 1 o'clock. And you have then next on this stage, we'll begin at 1 o'clock with about risk management, emerging risks and threats, lessons for civil protection in wartime. And that will be brought to you by Colonel Mārtiņš Baltmanis, exactly at 1 o'clock here on this stage. Now you will have a choice. Either you go and enjoy the expo part. Please go to Samsung Knox and DPA Lounge and visit those ones. Or you can purchase a lunch, some sandwiches or some warm options at one of the 4 bars. Please go, choose, and pay for your choice. So that's until 1 o'clock from now. But let's say once again thank you to Renārs, Ieva, Kaspars, and Dagmara for this discussion. So see you here at 1 o'clock.